accomplished a lot over the past 2 years in the legislature. We passed sweeping reforms to our mortgage system to keep Pennsylvanians from losing their home in these troubling economic times. We passed an updated dog law to help end Pennsylvania's reputation as the puppy mill capital of the East. We created funding to bring water and sewage projects into Pennsylvania, into our rural communities. We expanded the property tax and rent rebate program to increase property tax relief for our seniors. 2 years ago, you sent me and 50 other new legislators to Harrisburg to help change a culture of corruption. And we've done exactly that by ending midnight voting, eliminating ghost voting, and passing a sweeping open records law that will make your government much more open and transparent. I knew that my freshman class was having an impact when I was walking through the halls in Harrisburg, and one of the legislators came up to me that we were talking about something. He's been around the block for a while, and it wasn't Tim. And he said, you know, this place just really isn't as much fun anymore. And that told me all I need to know about the impact that we were making. Now, I could stand up here and rattle off a list of accomplishments as a reason for you to re-elect me, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to go back because of what I've accomplished. I want to go back because of all the work there is that's yet to be done. And every day, I'm reminded of all that there is yet to do, and I know that the real work we have is just getting started. When someone is being blocked from being able to lawfully purchase a gun to protect his family because of red tape, I know there's still more to do. When thousands of people living in my district don't have clean water and safe sewage systems, I know there's still more to do. When I watch my friends leave southwestern Pennsylvania because they can't find viable jobs here, I know there's still more to do. When senior citizens are being forced to cut their pills in half and live on soup because they can't afford to pay to heat their homes this winter, I know there's still more to do. And when someone sits in my office in tears because they can't afford health insurance for them and their family, I know there's still more to do. Franklin Roosevelt once said, "It isn't sufficient just to want. You've got to ask yourself, what are you going to do to get the things you want?" And if you know anything about me, you know that I tend to wear my heart on my sleeve sometimes. And that isn't always a bad thing in this job. I don't apologize for having a passion for what I do. And if the day ever comes where I find myself unable to get excited or angry or even moved to tears by this job, then that's the day I know it'll be time to move on. But I want to be clear about one thing. Today is not that day. As you all know, we have a very important election in just 16 days. And as you may be aware, I'm running against a young man who, as Tim mentioned, has unfortunately chosen to take a low road by running a negative smear campaign against me. Over the past few months, I have seen so many misrepresentations, half-truths, radio commercials, and outright lies for my opponent's campaign that sometimes I have to sit down and think it through to make sure that I'm not believing it myself. So as the election drew nearer, I began to really look forward to debating it, so I could set the record straight once and for all on a lot of these issues. I mean, I have no problem with a little spirited campaigning, but when politicians and candidates start lying to people about issues that matter in your lives, things like property taxes and health care, to try to get votes, it's crucial to get the facts straight. The way I see it is if you have to lie to a voter to get the gig, you don't deserve the job, plain and simple. I was so eager to hear my opponent defend some of these bizarre claims that I called him up myself, picked up the phone, called him up and I said, "Hey, let's have a debate." He said the only way he would do it would be if he could see the questions in advance and then edit out the ones he didn't like. Now think about that for a minute. That should really tell you all you need to know about his platform. Because if any of the garbage that they have been putting out on the radio and in the newspaper and in your front lawn was even remotely true, I handed him a golden opportunity to stand up like a man and make his case to the voters, and he refused. Tells me he wants the job, but he's not willing to sit down for the job interview. But instead of allowing these gutter tactics to get the best of me, I've really decided to use them as a motivation in my campaign. Because there is no better motivator in politics than wanting to really beat your opponent. And there were many 90-degree days in July and August whenever I was out walking around knocking on doors, where that motivation to defeat these kind of tactics and to beat this opponent is what made me knock on that one extra door or work a little harder to raise that one extra dollar. I have committed to running a positive, issue-based campaign because the high road is the only one that you deserve. I want to leave these negative politics in the garbage where they belong, because when you give in to the temptation to go negative, and believe me, Lord knows if we wanted to, we have enough to go negative from now until the next year's election. But if you do that, no one wins. No one wins. It's just not enough to throw yourself across the finish line first. You need to be able to look yourself in the mirror and live with yourself when you examine how you got there when the dust settles. So what do I need from you? That's very simple. I need you to take the next 16 days and help me spread the word. I need you to put a sign in your yard. There's a bunch of them there on their way out the door. Grab as many as you need. I need you to call your friends and your neighbors and make sure that they get out to vote. I need you to volunteer to make phone calls, canvass your neighborhood, or work the polls on election day. We need to use the next 16 days to make some serious noise so that we can make a definite statement on November 4th. Decisions are made by those who show up. So for the next 16 days, we've got to get all hands on deck and make sure that we stand and deliver on what is certainly one of the most important elections in our lifetime. I have been honored and humbled by the opportunity that you gave me 2 years ago. But I know that there's so much more critical work to be done, and I have absolutely no intention of letting any of you down. One of the greatest compliments I heard when I ran for this office 2 years ago was that I had fire in my belly. Well, I'm here to tell you now that although, and thankfully, I may have a little less belly than I had 2 years ago, I can tell you that for a fact, I have not lost a single bit of the fire. I'm a fighter, and I will never, ever stop fighting for my constituents. And with your support, I hope to keep on fighting for you for another 2 years as your state representative. So thank you very much for being with me here today. Don't forget to vote.